Hello and welcome to GameRules.com. My name is Mark, and today I'm going to teach you how to play Sea Salt and Paper. This is a deceptively little card game that is jam-packed full of features and ways to score and action cards. Don't be fooled by this tiny box. This is a deep game. We're going to dive in and learn how to play. All right, setup for the game is simple. Shuffle the deck, place it face down in the middle of the table, and turn 2 cards over to begin the discard piles. Choose a player to go first. It can be any player. On a player's turn, they will complete 2 steps. First, they have to add a card to their hand, and they can do that one of 2 ways. They can either draw 2 cards from the deck, and then choose one of them to keep and one of them to discard, or they can choose one of the top cards from either discard pile. For example, they could take the Swimmer. Once a card is added to their hand, they should not let their opponent see it. After they have added a card to their hand, if they have any duos, they can play those to the table, and we'll see how that works here in a moment. If they have nothing more they can do, then their turn ends and play passes left. This game is just a 58 card deck, but within that deck are a lot of features that can make this a bit heavier of a card game. So in order to play to your best ability, you need to understand all the different ways to score. Every card matters in this game. Essentially, there are 4 types of cards. First, we have what are called duo cards. When duo cards are played in pairs, they activate a special ability. For example, when a duo of fish is played to the table, the player will be able to add the top card from the deck to their hand. There are a few different types of duo cards. You have fish, as well as crabs, boats, and you also have a shark and swimmer combination, which I'll go over here in a little bit. For scoring, you will earn 1 point for each set of 2 duo cards that you have. So 2 fish would earn you 1 point. 4 fish would earn you 2 points. Cards that are not connected to a duo do not earn you anything. So if I had 3 fish, I would still only get 1 point because I can only make 1 duo with that group of fish. Next, we have what are called collector cards. And you will never play these to the table. They have no special ability, but they will earn you more points based on how many that you have. There are 4 types of collector cards. We have seashells, octopus, penguins, and sailors. The scoring for this is determined by how many you have. So if you only have 1 seashell by the end of the game, you get 0 points for it. If you have 2, you get 2 points. If you have 3, you get 4 points, and so on down the line. The next type of card is called a point multiplier card. This will give you bonus points for every card you have of that type. So with fish, you would get 1 extra point for every fish you have at the end of the round. So if you had 3 fish in your hands, you would get 1 point for each fish, and you would get 1 point for the duo. It's important to remember that these point multiplier cards do not count as one of their types. So this is not a fish. It's just a fish multiplier. There are multipliers not only for fish, but also for the penguins, the boats, and the sailors. The final type of card is the mermaid card, and there are only 4 of these in the deck. At the end of the round, you will use the mermaid card to get a color bonus. You will earn a bonus for whatever color group you have the most cards in. So let's say you end the round with 4 blue cards. Then you would get 4 extra points added to your score for that group. If you have more than 1 mermaid, you cannot apply that mermaid to the same color. So let's say you ended the round with 2 mermaids. You would apply 1 to your biggest group and then you would apply one to your next biggest group. Now, one more special thing about these mermaids, if a player has 4 mermaids in their possession at the end of the round, they automatically win the whole game. That's an automatic win condition. From here, we need to move on and learn how to use our duos, how to play them, and what each kind of duo does. After adding a card to your hand, you are able to play duos to the table. You can play as many duos as possible. When you play a duo to the table, you activate its special ability. For example, here with a duo of fish, I get to add the top card of the deck to my hand. So I would immediately get to draw a card. And I can continue my turn. So let's say I did have a duo of crabs. I play that, and that allows me to look at one of the discard piles and choose a card from it that I want to add to my hand. Let's say I want the octopus. I cannot rearrange the cards. I simply put the discard pile back, and I do not have to tell my opponent what card I took. Next, let's say I play a duo of boats to the table. That immediately allows me to take another turn. So I would add a card to my hand and continue playing. The next type of duo is the swimmer and shark. Notice that this duo does not have 2 of the same card, but it is a specific pair, swimmer and a shark. This allows me to take a card at random from an opponent. Please note that this is a card from their hand, not from any duos they've played to the table. Once a player has finished playing duos to the table, their turn ends and play passes left. Player 2 would then go. Notice how we have an empty discard pile now. So their options are to draw 2, keep 1 and discard 1, or they can take this green fish card. That would be player 2's options. So for this example, let's have them draw 2. They will keep 1. Discarding is a little different when there's an empty pile. The player must start a new pile with their discard. Again, player 2 could play duos to the table now if they had any, but they don't, so their turn ends, and player 3 goes. Well, they're going to go ahead and just take this scoring multiplier card for fish, add it to their hand, and end their turn. Player 4 decides to draw 2, and they want to keep the shells and discard the crabs. All right, now we're beginning a second round of turns. So player 1's going to go again, and they are going to do the same thing. Draw 2, and discard 1. Now that you see they have a duo that can be played, they can take care of part 2 of their turn. If they wanted to play this duo, they would simply play it face up to the table. Their hand would be empty again, but then this duo activates a special ability. A swimmer-shark duo allows the player to steal a card from an opponent's hand. Let's go ahead and take player 3's card, and now it is player 1's card. That ends their turn. Play passes left. Player 2 decides to pick up this fish, add it to their hand, and they could play this duo to the table. Instead, they choose to end their turn and pass. Player 3 now takes their turn. They're going to draw 2, keep 1, and discard 1. Player 4 now takes their turn, and they're going to draw 2, keep 1, and discard 1, and so on down the line. Play like that continues until one player has 7 points or more in value with their cards, and that includes cards on the table as well as the cards in their hand. Let's jump ahead. So we have one player with 7 points. All right, here we fast forward a little bit, giving player 1 more cards. They now have 8 points in their hand. So let's count them up. They get 1 for the duo of fish, 1 for the swimmer-shark duo, and then they have the fish multiplier card. So that earns them 1 more point per fish, which is 1, 2, 3. So we're at 1, 2, plus 3 fish is 5. And then they also have 2 octopi, which is 3 additional points. So they are at 8 points. If at the end of a player's turn they have 7 points or more, they can trigger the end of the round. And there are 2 ways to do this. First, the player can say stop. This is the less risky way to end the round. If they say stop, all players reveal their hands and immediately score the points for the cards that they have. So this player would end the round with 8 points. And let's just say hypothetically their opponents did have only these cards at the end of the round. They're not going to earn much of anything. That most likely won't happen in a real game because these players will have played and gotten more cards in their hand. But for this example, their hands are terrible. Player 1 has 8 points. The second way to end the round would be to say last chance. And this is a bit riskier of a way to go about it. If you say last chance, you're betting that you have more points than your opponents will at the end of their final turn. And you are giving them a chance to take one more final turn. That means adding a card to their hand and playing duos to the table. As opponents play their last chance, they will reveal all their cards to the table, meaning that they are safe from shark attacks. So at this point, if player 1 had a swimmer shark duo and they played it, they are unable to steal cards that are on the table face up. So the first player that ended the round is safe. However, these other 2 opponents would not have revealed their cards yet, and they could have cards stolen from their hand. Once this player ends their turn, play passes, all of their cards are revealed, so now they are safe from shark attacks, and so on. Once all the players have taken their final turn, if the player who triggered the end of the round with a last chance does indeed have more points than their opponents, then they've won that bet. They are going to score the points for their cards, plus they are going to get a color bonus, which is 1 point per card of the color they have the most of. So this player would actually earn 3 extra points because they have 3 yellows, and that's their largest group. If the triggering player's score ends up being less than even just one of their opponents, then they lost the bet. They will only get their color bonus score. So let's say player 2 had more points than them. They lost the bet. They don't earn any of the points they had for duos and for collections and point multipliers. They only get the 3 points for their yellow cards. There is one special case for ending the round. If at the end of a player's turn, the draw pile runs empty, the round ends immediately and nobody earns any points. Once scores are determined for the round, everyone adds the points they earned to their running total. And the first player to earn the correct number of points for a victory wins. In a 2-player game, that total is 40. In a 3-player game, it's 35. And for a 4-player game, it's 30 points. Also remember that if a player reveals all 4 mermaids at the end of a round, they automatically win the game. Once the round is over, collect all of the cards, shuffle them back into the deck, and begin a new round. Whoever started the previous round, the player seated left of them begins the next one. And you'll continue playing until somebody reaches that required number of points. And that's how to play Sea Salt and Paper. So as I said at the beginning of the video, there is a lot going on in this tiny box. As a player, you are trying to balance earning points with action cards, keeping cards in your hand that you might want to use later. But if you do, those cards are at risk of being stolen by someone who plays the swimmer shark duo. You, of course, want to build collections in your hand, and those are always at risk of being stolen. And to top it all off, all those different ways to score points, there's that one caveat what if someone gets all 4 mermaids? Having an endgame trigger like that is just so wild. I couldn't believe that was in the game. There are some connections to games like Knock Rummy or 31. In those games, you are trying to either, like in 31, you're trying to be the player with the most points, as close to 31 as possible, or even getting 31 points exactly. And when you knock to end the round, you're betting that you'll have more points than everybody else. And of course, in Knock Rummy, you are building sets in your hands. You are allowing a certain amount of deadwood. And if you knock with cards that are unmelded, you're betting that you have less deadwood than the other players at the table. So you can see the roots there of those rummy games. But where this game just blows the roof off is by having collection cards and duo cards and point multiplier cards and color bonus cards. Not only are you paying attention to what type of card it is, but you're paying attention to the color. And there are tons of colors. Some could argue it's almost too much. I think this game has been very popular among the hardcore hobby crowd because there is so much packed into a little game. I think for people who are more into casual card games, it might be a little too much. However, if you like the origami theme and you're interested in a deep game that you could commit to and make that your game that you learn how to play and how to excel at, Sea Salt and Paper might be for you. Thank you so much for watching. If this video was helpful, please be sure to subscribe, ring the bell, and leave a thumbs up down below. And if you really want to help out the channel, leave a comment. Let me know what you think of this game, or if there are any other card games you'd like to see a tutorial for. If you'd like to see more videos, I've got a playlist of card games right here. And until next time, keep on playing.